Hello, everyone. It's Sibyl Star, and I am here to give the astrology forecast for the upcoming week of October 16th to 22nd. It is some wild times as we are in eclipse season. We just had an eclipse on Saturday. We're still deeply in the energy of that on October 14th at 21, 22 degrees of Libra. We're having another lunar eclipse. That was a solar. We're having a lunar eclipse on October 28th. And eclipse times are times of change. They're times of things coming to light that have been hidden. When an eclipse happens, the light of the sun is blocked. And in the case of the solar eclipse by the moon, in the case of the lunar eclipse, the earth comes between the sun and the moon. So the shadow of the earth actually blocks the light of the sun from being reflected off of the moon. So anyway, these are times of great change. And so let's talk just a little bit about the solar eclipse that just happened, because we're just deeply in the midst of it. And of course, I'm sitting behind this image. This is an image of someone took of the solar eclipse. He said he was using there's a certain telescope camera thing that he does that he was able to do this. And someone asked that question: is this an effect, or is this an effect, or is it something else? And what I want to say is, even if this is an effect of the camera isn't going to take something that isn't there. It's already there. It's patterns that are there that our visible eyes can't see. And I feel like the different technology and techniques we are starting to use, we're able to capture energy that is in the field, okay? Something that already exists. But anyway, I also want to show you this other image because it is really super profound, okay? Of the solar eclipse. I don't have a lot of information on it, but I know it showed up in my field. And, it's like, can you see this Merkaba that is in here? Okay, we've got the tetrahedron. This edge is a little well, there it is. You can see that edge. There it is. You can see that edge. Okay. So there's a tetrahedron. Excuse me. It is a Merkaba, which is a vehicle of is an energetic vehicle that allows our consciousness to travel to other dimensions and other realities. Many spiritual masters speak of this Merkaba. And then, of course, it is also the Star of David. You can see the six-pointed star, which is the same shape. And within it, we have the crescent moon. I mean, just the way that the eclipse was landing, and however it was that it made this break in here. And so I feel like this is just super important to it feels like it's a message from the cosmos. We've got this really challenging situation going on in the Middle East, and I feel like this is we're getting guidance from the cosmos. We live in a speaking universe. Everything speaks. And so anyway, let's talk about what this could actually mean. Okay. All right. So let's just keep going. And also, I wanted to mention that this eclipse was in a direct alignment with a black hole. And so I want to talk about that. And so as I said, I saw a Merkaba there, which is a vehicle for consciousness travel to other dimensions. And like I said, I've just read some books and really have learned a lot more about black holes, but this is my understanding of what black holes are. So my understanding of a black hole is when a dying star collapses in on itself and creates a point which is called a singularity, which that point is where all of that mass has been concentrated into this point, and it is so intense in matter that it punctures the veil that separates different galaxies and universes. So it becomes a portal of consciousness between them. Okay. And so I feel like there's a major cosmic teaching, and especially when we look at that Star of David and the crescent moon of Islam, I feel like the message and the eclipse is in Libra, which is the sign of peace. So I feel like it is so much about peace in our world, peace, harmony, and balance. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about that in the stars. There's so many of the star aspects are supporting that, but to know also that there are major diplomatic talks in the works in the situation of the Middle East. So I would just ask people to hold that vision that these diplomatic talks are successful and that the peace is held in the Middle East, in Israel and Palestine, or that conflict. Anyway, but let's talk about Libra. The sun is in Libra this week. It is traveling from 22 degrees to, I believe that's 28 degrees. Okay. And of course, Libra is the sign of balance. It is seeking harmony between self and other. It seeks inner peace and serenity. Libra is very empathic. As they say, walk a mile in my shoes. To know that we are all connected and we all have different times of suffering. Okay. And Libra can see the validity in both sides of a situation. There are always two sides, and Libra can see the truth in each. Okay. And the key is to come to balance and integration, and to recognize that, Libra is the sign of the scales, and to recognize that sometimes what is just is not always fair. We may need to align with what needs more energy to bring those scales back in balance. And Libra can manage paradox more easily than most. Okay. Now, this eclipse was conjunct Mercury. And to know this eclipse, even though it happened on Saturday, it has a very strong impact for several weeks and even months. And for some people, if it impacts their chart in a major way, it can be years. Okay. That something occurs that really impacts their life. But we're really in the thick of this energy. Okay. So this eclipse is conjunct Mercury in Libra. And it's and Mercury is the god of the mind and how we perceive the world. I guess maybe I should show you the chart for this. Okay, give me just a minute and I'll bring this chart up. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so here is the chart for it. Okay, the chart for the Libra solar eclipse that happened on October 14th. We have the sun and the moon at 21 degrees, 7 minutes of Libra. It is conjunct the south node. And of course, it's opposite the north node and Eris. Okay. Mercury is here conjunct the sun and moon, and then this whole complex here is actually in a square to Pluto. Okay. And actually Mercury is opposite Chiron as well. All right. So what else we want to talk about here? Anyway, this is what the chart looks like. I just wanted to give, for those of you who really like a visual aid, to see that. Okay. All right. So anyway, back to the chart. So Mercury is in Libra. And Mercury in Libra, Mercury's god of the mind and how we communicate and perceive the world. And this week, Mercury is traveling from 20 to 29 degrees and then moves into Scorpio, actually changes signs on October 22nd. Okay, so Mercury in Libra is diplomatic, tactful, and empathetic communications. It's having diplomatic, tactful, and empathetic communications, being able to see both sides of a situation, consider other points of view, and to know there are actually many views to view the same situation. Mercury moves into Scorpio and then trines Saturn, which I feel like is reminding us that our thoughts create, so to be very aware of them. And before Mercury moves into Scorpio, it's going to square Pluto. So it really brings that energy on more quickly. And Mercury square Pluto, and I would also say Mercury in Scorpio, indicates a transformation of our perception of reality, to be able to read between the lines to see what is true and what is not true. It is often called shamanic seeing. It's like a third eye opener. I used to believe that when you had an open third eye, that you could, we were clairvoyant, and that's true. But there are other ways to see the truth. There is like an inner knowing with your open, when your third eye is open, you really just understand what is true and what is not true. Okay. And but it can also bring manipulation of the truth and its shadow side and mind control. And so it makes it challenging to try to know what is true and what is not true. But it tells us to trust your gut instincts, especially if it is a hard truth. Often a hard truth comes in, something we don't want to know about, because in this eclipse, things are coming to light that have been hidden. And so if it's a hard truth, sometimes we know in our gut, our first instinct is to know it is true. Then our mind gets involved and starts playing mind games. And, so kind of go with that feeling. All right. Because what's happening is we are bringing the light into the darkness of what has been hidden. It is the only way to heal and process trauma. Okay. And this allows us to raise our vibration as we are able to see the bigger picture, which allows us to transcend polarities and access unity consciousness. In the quantum field, we know our energy field is part of the larger collective field. So if we want to impact change, we need to become that vibration. And in Libra, we are being shown that to have peace in the world, it starts in our own hearts. We must be the peace we want to see in the external world, because the external world is a reflection of our inner world on a personal and a collective level. We are part of the collective consciousness, and we contribute to it, and we create it. So if we want to change something different, we must change ourselves to make something different. Okay. And of course, the Sabian symbol for this eclipse, which is so beautiful, which I feel like is also showing us the way to navigate this challenging energy, is a child giving birds a drink at a fountain. To be kind, to just simply be kind and generous of spirit, to know that, as the Lakota say, Mataquiasan, we are all my relations, we are all related. We are the human family. We are the family of Mother Earth. We are all her children. And so to show kindness and generosity to each other and to ourselves. Okay. And because we are moving into a 5D consciousness and a fifth dimensional consciousness. And that fifth dimension is characterized by love, unity, and creativity that is based in the heart. Kindness and generosity of spirit is the way of life in a 5D consciousness. It is the only way forward. There's so many things coming in, I guess you would say, on a mental level, trying to understand 5D consciousness. 5D consciousness is living from the heart. And we all live there. We all go there. We actually shift realities all the time. And when you're living in your heart, you're in a 5D consciousness. Okay. At least that's my understanding. All right. So the sun this week is traveling, as I said, between 22 and 28 degrees of Libra. And this week, it is conjunct the South Node. It is conjunct this fixed star Arcturus. And so teachings from the Arcturians are super strong this week. And it's also a square Pluto. And so it's a super intense time. And, Pluto square the sun is like the transformation of identity. It takes us, deep into the places where we are disempowered so that we can make different choices to become empowered. Okay. And, and as I said, the sun is conjunct Arcturus. It is exact on October 17th. And the sun will conjunct the South Node through mid-December. And the exact square of Pluto and the sun is on October 21st. It's actually a super big day because the moon is also in Capricorn. So Pluto actually conjuncts the moon and squares the sun. So that is super intense and powerful energy. I would say, and the sun is once again in Libra. We're being asked to hold our center and it is a day of ceremony. It's called the Ceremony of 1,000 Goddesses. And so I also feel there is a potential for a big collective healing by holding prayers of peace and surrendering to the mother. We are creating this field of peace and allowing her to come in and to know that love heals everything. There's nothing love will not heal. And I'm not talking about the emotion of love and expecting a lover to heal you. It is living in that state of unconditional love and peace, which is possible. For the Arcturians, do it. Okay. And they are teaching us, and the Arcturians say they will work with anyone who wants to evolve their consciousness. And of course, the Arcturians come from the star system of Bootes. The star is Arcturus, and my understanding is there are many planets that they have their own solar system around Arcturus. Arcturus is a huge star, but those beings from Arcturus have been involved with the evolution of the consciousness of humanity since the beginning, and they are here now to really help us, especially in this week where the sun is in alignment with Arcturus. Okay. Like I said, they live in a field of unconditional love, and they say they have mastered inner peace. And that is actually the key to really living in a field of unconditional love. They also say that that they say what I know comes from the Arcturians, because I do work with them. And they say that there are over 5,000 planets in our Milky Way galaxy that have life at different levels of consciousness. And they say every civilization, every star nation civilization that has existed in the Milky Way galaxy have gone through a point in time where they have developed their technology. They've advanced their technology enough to where we have the capability to either destroy ourselves, or we can use our technology for the acceleration of spirituality. And so of our own spiritual growth, for the acceleration of our own spiritual growth and the activation of our own inner spiritual technology. Okay. So, and we are there right now. And so I think it's just super important. Once again, like I said, they have mastered inner peace, and that is their teachings are about inner peace. And so as we move forward with this, I would say to be aware and informed, but empathetic to both sides of conflict that are happening in the world. I mean, in the greater world and in your own world, because it's, we have the micro and the macro, they're all there. Okay. And square Pluto in Capricorn is so much about aligning with cosmic law and justice, because we have inner peace when we are aligned with cosmic law, when things are in right alignment. So it's also about holding people accountable who are at the core of these power struggles that are inciting fear and anger. The key is to not add your own fear and anger to the situation, to step back from it and know this is about the people. Removing Pluto into Aquarius is about power of the people. Okay, but Pluto is still square the nodes, which indicates we're at a crossroads. Which way will we go? Will we go further into war or in the direction of peace and diplomacy? This is a powerful moment to hold the line and say no to war around the world, that this has got to end. This is not okay. We have the potential to start the healing of the polarity consciousness of the us versus them mentality that we are currently in, and move more deeply into unity consciousness. We can change the paradigm if we hold a place of inner peace in our hearts during this time of great conflict and turmoil, which of course means to not take sides, to stay centered, stay neutral. There have been atrocities committed on every side, and we stay and just hold the peace and send the love. Okay, because it is love that transforms the darkness. Okay, but also holding people accountable. It's not like it's okay. We also say no. Okay, so Mars is in Scorpio from 3 to 7 degrees. Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, so it's very strong here. Mars is is the archetype of the warrior, which can either be a protector or an aggressor in a shadow aspect. Mars in Scorpio brings courage to walk in the fire of our fears and say no, and where we set our boundaries. Mars in Scorpio is very intense energy, and just depending on where we put our focus, we can move mountains. Okay. But it is also where we carry our rage and anger. So it is so important to become aware of our own during these volatile times, so that we don't add our unconscious anger and fear into the field. Okay. And not project it outward. Once we become aware that our own anger is being triggered, our triggers are up, there are healthy ways to release these emotions, to know we have choices and how to deal with it. Physical activity is very important in releasing these intense emotions. Okay. Pluto in Scorpio is, Mars in Scorpio is driven and focused on getting what it wants at all cost. It can even be obsessed. It's also very strategic and plans things carefully about how to go about getting what it wants, may keep motives hidden. The desire nature is strong, and we may become very attached to getting what we want. Or let's put it this way, getting what we want in the form we want it, and may also become disappointed if we don't get it. And we may seek revenge or act out in negative ways. So it's really important to understand that if we don't get something we want at this time, that it's maybe not in our highest good, and to rethink it, relook at it, and see maybe there's something out of alignment here with my own authenticity of truth, and it's another unconscious motive that I need to look at. Okay, and Mars in Scorpio can be attracted to crisis as transformative and emotionally exciting. So no, there's a lot stirring the pots going on this week. Okay, so just become aware of it. It's all about consciousness, the transformation of consciousness, and what comes up and how we respond to it, and then how we act upon that. Okay. All right. And also Mars in Scorpio, it can be highly sexual and charismatic. And so you might have a stirring of sexual attraction during this time. All right. We also have Venus. She's the ruler of the eclipse. She's in Virgo, transiting from 6 to 13 degrees. And of course, and she also trines Jupiter. So Venus in Virgo is an earth sign, and Venus is goddess of love, and Virgo is a sign of service. Venus in Virgo has a desire to express her love through service and practical acts of kindness. Those random acts of kindness, they're so important. And Virgo is also, we call it the god of small things. What happens every day? What happens in each moment? It's about being mindful. Okay. And Venus in Virgo as an earth sign can be very interested in healing modalities of the earth, such as herbs and nutrition. Okay. And of course, the shadow side of Virgo is self-criticism of self and others. But trine Jupiter is in Taurus, and they're both earth signs. So we could see an improvement in our finances. Venus trine Jupiter is a beautiful energy. We could see an increase in flow and abundance in our lives. So it is a really good time to practice your gratitude, to be thankful for everything, all the blessings in your life. Say, thank you, bring me more. Okay. All right. So what is the moon doing this week? Okay, so on Monday to mid-Tuesday, the moon is in Scorpio. So, it's just such intense energy. Because moon in Scorpio is just so intense, and it's about passion, elation, feeling every emotion. But also, Scorpio is so much about the detective, of getting to the bottom of things. And the moon is so intuitive, to read between the lines and trust your gut instincts. The shadow side can be manipulation, brooding, and suspiciousness. And its opposite Uranus on Monday later in the day, sudden surprises and disruptions could happen. Okay. All right. And that happens around 22 degrees of Taurus. So if you have planets there, it could activate it. If not, it may show up. Anyway, mid-Tuesday to Thursday, the moon is in Sagittarius. So we come from the intensity of feeling and emotion of Scorpio into Sagittarius, which is the archer, and he's in the light. He's shooting his arrow of light to light up everything. Anyway, it is and it's where a Sagittarius is at is in her most optimistic and upbeat phase. Sagittarius is also motivated to seek for the truth, but they're really looking for the big picture and the vision, whereas Scorpio is looking under every rock, for the deeper truth, whereas Sagittarius is kind of more the philosophical truth, okay, worldview truth. All right. On Friday and Saturday, the moon is in Capricorn. In Capricorn, we become aware of need for structure and planning ahead. Moon in Capricorn can be very resourceful and doesn't want to waste time, energy, or resources. Moon in Capricorn requires emotional maturity. And during this time on Saturday evening here on the West Coast, Moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto and square the sun, as we talked about. Moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto can often ask us to look reality in the eye. And the truth is, when we can acknowledge truth, we know what to do. As long as we know what is true, we can then make better choices, informed choices. Okay. Whatever that is, whether it's in the outer world, in our personal life, some truth coming to light. Because remember, we are still in the midst of this eclipse energy. Okay. Not a time for pretense. May have opportunities for emotional maturity. All right. On Sunday, the moon moves into Aquarius, and Aquarius, is about all that is new and unusual and an instinctive need for freedom. Okay. It is often a time to get for social gatherings, getting together, sharing ideas, and really seeing the future. What is the future bringing? All right. So in conclusion, I just want to say that, we are in highly volatile times and we could be edged to a major war. I feel like our job as light workers is to hold a field of peace and love by not taking sides, understanding there are always two sides to every situation, to pray for diplomacy, compassion to prevail, but to live that diplomacy, compassion, peace, and forgiveness in our world, because that is what is going to change it. All right. Wishing you all a wonderful week, and namaste. Blessings to all.